Welcome to Brain and Nerve Plasticity, where we'll be doing some explanation of dizziness. When you look at dizziness, you have different areas of the brain that can be involved. You have here the cerebellar area I just drew in. Now you have here, for example, the semicircular canals. The semicircular canals are in the middle ear. And there's a communication between the brain stem, and the spinal cord that works largely through the cerebellum. The actual semicircular canals will stimulate what we call the flocculonodular lobe. And this flocculonodular lobe is an area in the cerebellum which will fire what we call the vestigial nucleus. And the vestigial nucleus will activate then the vestibular centers of the brainstem, which are pretty much in the middle of the brainstem. Let me just write in there, that's your vestibular area. And if you recall, that's the cranial nerve 8, part of the vestibular cochlear nerve. Now this vestibulum has connections that will relate to both the upper functions of the eyes, mainly the eye musculature, and it does that through the communication of the medial longitudinal fasciculus, basically coming from the mesencephalon there. And these connections then will innervate the eye muscles for the specific eye movements. The other connections that, besides the eye musculature, will be the connections that go down towards the cord. And these connections that go down through the cords through this same system will actually go out to affect the spinal column, because the innervation of this medial longitudinal fasciculus goes to the spinal intrinsic musculature. So it's actually a link between here going through the cerebellum areas. It's going to excite this. This is going to then in turn excite the vestibular areas, which will then excite the eye muscles, but then also excite the musculature along the spine. So it will excite the spinal intrinsic musculature. And this vestibulum through this medial fasciculus will actually connect these two, so that you have a direct connection from your eyes to your spine. So these spinal intrinsics, the spinal intrinsic musculature, I'll just write that down here, the spinal intrinsics, they are actually connected through the vestibular system to the eyes. And the main aspect of this is to keep your eyes straight to where your movement is coming from. Now what happens is that in these connections, if you start to have aberrancies, let's say that there's less good input from these semicircular canals, then you're going to have an effect that the cerebellum on that particular side is going to fire incorrectly to the vestigium, and thereby aberrantly giving information to the eyes and to the neck. And what it will then do is send a side stimulation to the vagus nerve, which can end up dropping your blood pressure and giving you a very unpleasant feeling. So it's this vestibular area here, that's the main area that is concerned in the dizziness aspect, the vestibulum here. So we'll teach you how to recognize the differences between vagal function, autonomic function, how it relates to the eye movements, and how it's interrelated to the spine, and teach you ways to address these issues and ways to treat them. So we're looking forward to seeing you in Leiden